everybody, Sunny here. Before we get to the show, I just want to remind you all where you can listen to my podcast, CasaLoud Chats. I'm on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more streaming platforms. I'm even on YouTube. With YouTube, you just search for CasaLoud Chats, and every episode of my show is up there on YouTube. And now, on with the show. Everybody, and welcome to CasaLoud Chats, a podcast dedicated to Nickelodeon's The Casagrandes and the Loud House universe. And I'm your host, Sunny. And welcome to episode 26 of CasaLoud Chat. And it's also going to be a very special episode of my show because I have a very special guest with me here today. This person on Twitter does a lot of great art in the fandom. It is Burster MFG. Welcome to my show.
Oh, absolutely. It's an honor to be here. I've actually wanted to be on the show for quite a while, but, I've got the chance to be here.
And I'm really happy to have you on. So Burster, there's probably people out there who don't know who you are. So if you can, give us a little introduction about yourself.
All right. I don't really mind. So, hello, everybody. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Burster MFG, and I am an artist, and I create art of the Loud House and Casagrandes. So, mainly those two shows, but I sometimes do art of other shows. So, well, sometimes, but, but I'm mainly on Instagram and Twitter if you want to follow me. So, yeah. And I've been watching many episodes of The Loud House and Casagrandes, and, it's a good show. So, they're great shows.
Yep, these shows are wonderful. And if anybody knows who you are a huge Ronnie and Sid fan, just from your art.
I'm a huge Shidani fan. No competition, okay?
Yeah, I know you are one of the biggest Shidani fans I know out there, and your art just tells it. So you just love it. Yeah. All right, so I am so excited to have you on, and we're gonna start off with some Casa news. Alright, so this week there's not a lot of news for the Loud House and the Casagrandes. Thank goodness, because last week I had a lot of stuff to talk about. But for this week, there isn't a lot of news that was announced. But the first piece of news is actually big news. Is that the last 2 episodes of Season 4 of the Loud House just got announced. So we finally know the last 2 episodes of Season 4. And these 2 episodes are very interesting, to say the least. So let's talk about the first one that was announced, which is... How Double Dare You? The siblings asked Lisa to help them get on Double Dare, which is actually one of the Nickelodeon game shows that was on for a while, and they're having another episode where they're on a game show because the last one we had was Legends of the Hidden Temple back in Season 2. So are you excited for this episode?
I actually am, really. I'm always excited for new episodes with new concepts, and I think this episode is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
We haven't really... Did we get any Lisa-centered episodes in this season?
Yes, it was a Jerry Antics, the one with her and Pop Pop.
Oh, yeah, that one. So we've got to find the first Lisa episode since Jerry Antics, so...
Yeah, it's very interesting that one of the last episodes of Season 4 is a Lisa episode, and the siblings are trying to convince her to get them on this game show. Like, I guess it's because she's smart, so maybe, like, I don't remember how Double Dare works. I kind of do, because, like, they ask you certain questions about trivia and stuff, and then you do challenges. So maybe because they know she's the smartest in their family, they're like, oh, well, Lisa, you could get us on the show by answering questions and stuff,
Yeah.
So yeah, that's going to be a very exciting episode. And then the next one we have... and then the next one we have is going to be very interesting as well. It's called Scoops On. Lenny and Lincoln secretly read Luna's diary.
Oh, my God.
So there's a lot to unpack on this one because Luna has a diary and Lenny and Lincoln are going to read it. How do you feel about this one?
Why?
How do you feel about this?
It's ridiculous. Like they don't like. Okay. Like we only know the premise, but we don't really know the episode. So maybe the episode would could explain why Luna has a diary, but I still think the premise is, extremely pretty forced and ridiculous because, why would like Lincoln? I mean, Lenny is not that smart, but I know she wouldn't do something like this. And Lincoln, he's like a really good kid, but he does make mistakes. But I don't think he'd go as far as to do something like that.
Yeah, I really mix on this one because Lincoln is my favorite character, and I do not believe he would do something like this. The fact that
Mm.
he's reading, it's privacy, someone's privacy, and it's like him and Lenny of all the characters to read. I would have thought Lola would be this type of person to read someone's diary. That would
Yeah, I
be her.
expect Lola to do something like this because she's obviously not a saint. So
Yeah, and like Luna being the one to have a diary, I thought like Lenny would have a diary. I can see her having one, or even Lola again having a diary, and everybody being like, reading it, and she's getting all paranoid and stuff. But it's Luna has a diary, and like I know some people were like, well, maybe we'll find out about Luna's love life with Sam and stuff. But the siblings already know she's dating.
I'm betting that's gonna be in the diary. I'm gonna bet that's gonna be in the diary.
Yeah, but it's like the siblings already know she's dating Sam, so it's not like a big surprise of that. So unless they don't
Exactly.
know, but they already
Exactly.
do. So I don't know what it could be. Where what kind of secrets we'll find out about Luna. I mean, it'll be very interesting to find out what she thinks and what she writes down in her diary. But episodes like these, and I think one of them, a good example of that, well, a bad example is that SpongeBob episode called Little Sponge Book or Little Yellow Book, where like Squidward reads SpongeBob's diary and embarrasses him in front of everybody. I hate
Yeah,
this.
like the time you named a spatula Fifi.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it's like I don't like these plots of episodes because it's like this is someone's privacy and you're reading it in front of all your siblings
Like
and
Squidward, he wouldn't do something to something bad to SpongeBob unless it was war unless because if SpongeBob did something bad to Squidward has something to do something bad to SpongeBob. But all SpongeBob was doing is just reading in his diary, and SpongeBob had no punishment, didn't had no reason to be tortured like that.
yeah, so I'm worried that it'll be the same thing here where Lenny and Lincoln are reading her diary throughout the entire episode and Luna like she gets upset at them but there's like no punishment for them. But I'm hoping the Loud House doesn't go far like doesn't fall down that rabbit hole where they don't get punished. They deserve to like get punished and like it's like they're like maybe Luna tells their parents and their parents get upset at them.
Yeah, we just they at the end of the day, I think this show is mostly fair when it comes to characters getting punished.
Yeah, so I'm like, yeah, I'm really scared about this one because they could go in many ways, and I'm worried that it could end up being a bad episode just because of the premise. But I said the same thing about House Flip, and that episode was mediocre at best. I'm glad it wasn't as terrible. I was hoping.
Who needed Flip? Honestly.
The show apparently because he keeps showing up every 5 seconds in every episode, so clearly we need an episode about him.
Yeah, maybe we'll probably get an episode about him in the fifth season.
Oh, we are. There's gonna be like a Christmas episode where it's gonna be a parody of Christmas Carol and he's Scrooge.
I almost forgot about that.
Yeah, but there's gonna be a lot more Flip. I know that for sure. But yeah, it's like him and Chandler. When we talk about that episode, it's like the two most hated characters in the show keep coming back. So there's nothing we
I'm
can
gonna
do
be
about it.
honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna totally be honest with you. As much as I don't like Chandler, I don't think there was ever a moment in the show where he just made me angry. The worst he did was just make me face palm in annoyance.
Fair enough. I mean, the one time that it made me angry was that they basically like got rid of like his whole thing on Cheers for Fears, where he was like wanting to be friends with Lickety and Clyde, and then all of a sudden turned around and made him a jerk again in the podcast. And then
Yes, exactly.
It's like, okay, well, did Jennifer Fierce mean nothing? Was it just like a pity compliment? It's like we don't know. It's like he's just mean again. It's like because season 5 he's gonna have an episode 2, and it's like, well, Lincoln's going to middle school. He needs like a bully or an antagonist, so let's just do Chandler again. We got nobody for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so those last two season 4 episodes. I mean, it's crazy that season 4 is ending so soon. Like, it's crazy how like season 4 had started last year and now it's ending here. Like, to get your opinion on this, how did you feel about season 4 of Loud House?
Pretty on par with the first 3 seasons, except you know, just I mean this, I mean there were like I mean at least the episodes. I mean the episode ideas were not overused. I will say that for most of them anyway.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I feel like season 4 has been the best season, mainly because we haven't had a bad episode of the show. And like each season's had a bad episode. This season hasn't had that. Some could say Kings of the Con, but I don't really think that people. Well,
Kings of the Con was okay for me. I will
yeah,
say that it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It was just a it was just like a Clink and McCloud episode.
yeah. I just like the execution wasn't as good, but I think there's not like the majority of people who say this episode is bad this season. I think it's been a pretty solid season. So to say that we've had like really lots of creative ideas this season, I feel like it's been one of my favorite seasons so far of the show.
Yeah.
All right, so those are the last two episodes announced for season 4 of The Loud House. And for the Casagrandes, we do know that there's going to be 2 episodes leaked out in the UK, Grandparent Trap and Misstep. Did you hear about these
Yeah.
episodes?
Yeah, I've heard about them, and they seem to have an interesting idea. They have interesting ideas, like Ronnie Ann watching like watching a channel about and then that immediately prompts her to think Hector and Rosa's relationship will die down. I think that's an interesting premise.
Yeah, like my last episode, I went into an entire rant about how I feel about this episode and how scared I am about it. Because just the fact that Ronnie Ann was watching a relationship talk show of all the characters to think like, oh, if like my if I listen to whatever they're saying on this show, I assume that my grandparents are going to split up, and I really think it's going to be connected to her parents' divorce. That's what I'm thinking in this episode. Is that the reason that she's so scared that her grandparents will divorce is because the same thing will happen like with her parents.
Like didn't we? I mean, you know how Operation Dad was like the first, the first half-hour special of the Casa Grandes.
Yes.
They could have added. They could have added. They had so much to add for, and they could have added an explanation of why Arturo and Marie's relationship should have been, why did they decide to be friends instead of being married, being get back together.
Yeah, like I complained so much about Operation Dad because there was so much potential with that special, and again, it was a special. It was 22 minutes. You could have explained how, like Maria and Arturo divorced, but no, they just decided to brush it off like it's like, yeah, they divorced. They're better off as friends, but we don't know why because they're so awkward around each other and they can't even like shake hands or hug or anything. So I really, really hope in this episode we get some little hint of how the divorce affected Ronnie Ann personally, to the fact that she's like putting this onto her grandparents because I don't believe for a moment she would listen to a relationship talk show because she's not the type of person to care about romance. I've said this
She was
before.
probably flicking through. Like you said, she was probably browsing through the channels, and then okay, I'm gonna watch this because I'm
Yeah.
bored.
Yeah, exactly. So then it's like gives her the assumption that her grandparents are gonna divorce. It's like, yeah, misunderstanding stuff. But I really, really hope this episode touches upon her feelings on her parents' divorce because clearly, in some way, even though she says, "Oh, the divorce was years ago," clearly it still affects her in some sort of way.
Yeah, exactly. I
And
mean,
mm-hmm.
oh,
No,
you talk.
no, you go. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, it's cool. It's not all good. With Hector and Rosa's relationship, Hector, he can sometimes do stupid things, but he truly means well to Rosa.
Yeah, I think like especially in Karma Chameleon when we talk about that episode, like the one scene where he's pretend like he's asleep and hugging Rosa. Clearly, Rosa and Hector really do love each other, you know.
Yeah, I kind of find that scene a little awkward, but at least it shows that they love each other.
Yeah, that scene was pretty funny, but yeah, it just shows that they really love each other. Like, clearly they get into
Yeah, yeah,
arguments and stuff, and Rosa, always has to like tell him to stop doing something stupid, but clearly they love each other. So that's
yeah.
why I feel like the ending is gonna be where Rosa tells Ronnie Ann that not all relationships are going to end in disaster just because couples fight and stuff. It's just like we get into arguments as people, so it's like it's
You
not a
can't
bad
comp
thing.
you can't compare an actual couple to a couple on television.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And also the
Yeah.
other episode, Misstep, the one where Ronnie is learning that dance from Frida. Are you looking forward to that one?
I think we'll probably get to see Ronnie in a different outfit.
Yes. Oh my
Because I
gosh.
mean, it was really cool to see her in a swimsuit outfit in Slinker Swim.
Yes. Yes, I
But
love that so much. I love when they give her a new outfit because it's just like,
like like so many people in the fandom have hinted what Ronnie Yen would look like if she wore a bathing suit. But then you look at this episode and like, oh, it's this one, and I like it.
oh gosh, I got it right because I've had a headcanon that Ronnie Ann would wear a tank top and shorts. She wouldn't wear a one piece. And then they actually did that, and I was like, "Oh, did I predict this?" So it's like, "Oh, okay, I guess I got it right. Maybe I don't know, but yeah, like I hope they give her a new outfit this episode because, like in Team Effort, she got the new shirt with her gang. So I love that they give her new
Yeah,
outfits.
exactly, exactly.
So yeah, so those episodes are actually going to get leaked out in the UK on June 30th and July 1st, and hopefully we'll be able to see them before they premiere in the
Yeah,
US.
I thought back then the Loud House, only had UK releases, but now the Casagrandes is getting some UK releases too.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Like I wonder if
The UK releases usually come out before the US, so we'll get to see them early.
yeah, yeah. So I'm like really nervous because I feel like if it's still happening this week, we'll probably get a promo for those two episodes, and I'm just not ready. I'm so scared.
I'm nervous. I get nervous every time there's a new episode come out. I don't know why.
Oh, me too, man. Like every time there's a new episode, I freak out because it's like, what's gonna happen? I'm so scared. Like, oh no! But these two episodes, it's more like Grandparent Trap was just tailor made for me to be terrified. It's just like, why you gotta do this to me right now?
I mean, I'm more freaked out. I get freaked out the most when there's a new episode with Sid because
Yeah,
Sid is my favorite character of the show.
yeah.
Like Team Effort, that was the episode that I was most hyped up for.
Oh yeah, me too. Like I can't wait to talk about that one because I think everybody was really excited for that one. So I can't wait till we
Yeah,
talk about that.
including us.
Yes. All right, so those are going to be the new episodes coming out, and again, the Loud House ones we don't know when they're going to be coming out. Probably July, but for the Loud House, not Loud House, but for the Casagrandes, those will be coming out in the UK early. So then the last piece of news, luckily the last piece of news, is just YouTube updates from the Loud House and the Casagrandes YouTube page. So the last time I talked about the YouTube page, the first thing they uploaded was anytime someone says Lily, it speeds up, a clip from the Loud House, which was, I believe, from Changing the Baby. Yes, Changing the Baby in that
Yeah.
clip. And then we had top dad moments from the Loud House and the Casagrandes, which was
Oh,
yeah. No, go
just a
ahead.
compilation of the fathers in the Lados and
Yep,
Casagrandes.
for Father's Day, and then we had celebrating Juneth with Clyde in the Loud House.
Juneteenth.
How do you say
Yeah,
it?
and Andrew Robinson, I don't think he's gonna voice Clyde for any longer.
Oh, you don't think so?
Well, Andrew Robinson's voice got a little deeper, so
Well,
when he,
because we know in season 5 the characters are aging up, I don't think they're going to replace him.
oh, okay, that's understandable.
Yeah,
So
because for season 5, all the characters are moving up a grade, so I don't think they're going to replace Clyde again. I mean, if they do, that'll be shocking. But no, like that was Andre. He did say he recorded that, so I don't think they're going to
yeah,
replace
Andrew
him.
Robinson, he said that he's voiced Clyde ever since like 2017.
Yeah, yeah. He
So he's been voicing Clyde for a very long time.
Yeah, he's last.
Longer than his first one.
Yes, yeah. It's pretty awesome. Like I love that he does Clyde, but yeah, I don't think he's gonna get replaced. It's because again, season 5 is probably the last season. They're all aged up, so I don't think they're gonna replace him.
The last season. I hope. Really?
Well, yeah, it sounds like it for sure because again, one they're all moving up a grade and the stakes are higher. I think season 5 is gonna be the last season. I'll be shocked if there's a season 6, but I think season 5 is gonna be the last season because again, we have that, we have the spin-off, we have a movie. I think we're pretty good with content, you know.
Yeah, the loud. Yeah, they're already good. They're already. The show's already pop. The Loudness is popular enough to get a movie. To get a movie on Netflix.
And a live action movie. Don't forget that's still happening.
I'm not looking forward to that one, to be honest.
I hope it's good, but I mean, like, if there's no live action Ronnie, and then what's the
Yeah,
point?
I will give it a chance. I'll give it a chance to see if it's good or not.
Yeah, yeah. Like, the one thing I'm still curious about is with the Casagrandes, if the Loud House characters are all moving up a grade, are the Casagrandes gonna age up too for season 2? Like,
Yeah, like probably like Ronnie and Sid are probably not going to be in the 5th grade anymore.
yeah. Because again, Lincoln's moving up to 6th grade, so. And Ronnie Ann's gonna come back in the show because we know the Casagrandes are gonna be visiting from time to time in season 5, so they gotta move up a grade too.
Exactly. They all have to move. They all have to move up a grade somehow.
Yeah, alright?
They're not gonna be in the exact same grade.
Yeah, and also with that Clyde video too, it was actually a pretty exciting one too because they actually made new Clyde puppet rigs like what they do with Lincoln and Ronnie Ann to do like promotional stuff. They did this with Clyde. I thought that was pretty interesting. So it makes you it makes you think, will they do other versions of these of like the other characters? Like maybe they'll do like a Sid or like a Lori or something. Like do you think they'll do other ones like these?
I hope they do a Sid.
Yes, yeah, I hope they do a Sid. I would love that. So we get like Ronnie and Sid talking to each other about something, in one of these videos.
Yeah, that should definitely happen.
Yep. And then the next two videos they uploaded was Clyde's two dads, which was the deleted short that they had with Clyde and his two dads trying
But
to. Oh, yeah, no, go
funny
ahead.
thing is that this. Oh, thank you. The funny thing is that this short was like only released in one country, but now
Yes.
it's released here. So that like the
Yeah, and these
like
shorts. Yeah, these shorts were made around like season 3, I believe, and then they were released in another country, and we never got them until now. We didn't think we were going to get like English versions of them, but now they finally released them because they're like, wait, we have a channel now for Las and Casagrandes. Oh yeah, we have these shorts we never released. Let's just release them, so let's do that. So that was pretty interesting. Oh my gosh, I completely forgot to put on the news about talking about the shorts that were released during the Loud House episodes. I forgot about that. I'm gonna put that on the list. Almost forgot about that. That's kind of important. Yeah,
Yeah.
there was new shorts that premiered after the new episode of The Last House of the Casagrandes. Wow, that makes me so unprofessional. And then the last video they uploaded on the YouTube page today was the full Casagrandes house tour, which they already uploaded a while back, which is showing a tour of the Casagrandes apartment. Did you like this video?
I didn't see it yet.
Oh, you didn't see it yet? Oh, okay. Well, it's basically just a
Sorry,
little tour of the whole building of the Casagrandes, showing where all the Casagrandes live, their neighbors, and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So yeah, that's all the news for this week. There's not a lot of news this week, obviously. So yes, we're going to take a little break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about all the new episodes of The Loud House and the Casagrandes, and all the Loud House shorts that came out. The new episodes, which are Sandhassel, Wheel and Deal, Karma Chameleon, and Team Effort. When we come back. And we are are back to talk about the new episodes of The Loud House and the Casagrandes and the new Loud House shorts that came out. So let's talk about the Loud House shorts that premiered after the new episodes of The Loud House and the Casagrandes. So this was very exciting to get all these brand new shorts because I first predicted that the shorts were going to be just the ones they put onto the Loud House page, but actually they're brand new shorts we had never seen before. So we had 4 of them. And which one of the 4 of them did you like the most?
I like the Clink and McCloud one. I like the one with Lincoln and Clyde.
The 10-headed beast?
Yeah, the 10-headed beast was awesome.
Why? Why'd you like that one?
I don't know. I mean, it's just basically some sort of it's basically like it's basically like Lincoln and Clyde just pretending to be like these sort of superheroes and stuff, and I don't know.
I had a lot of problems with that one, mainly because the ending where they're playing in their underwear, and then Lola just like goes, "Mom, they're playing in their underwear," and then like Lola just goes, "Nice undies, McBride."
that was weird. But...
That was so cringy. Like, wow, it's just so weird that like Lincoln has not been seen in his underwear since season 2 reading comics. So like he's still doing it, and with Clyde, I never thought Clyde would want to do that. Like it just seems so awkward.
To me, to be honest with me, I wasn't really bothered with it that much. But I understand it. I understand if you were.
Yeah, it bothered me a lot because 1, we haven't seen Lincoln in his underwear since season 2 because they stopped doing that with him reading comics in his underwear. And 2, with Clyde, who I never thought would do that, and it's like in front of her sisters, and it's like, ugh.
Well, it wasn't really the first time we saw him, Clyde in his underwear.
Yeah, but it's like he actually wanted to do it, It's just kind of weird to me,
Yeah.
But my favorite had to be, like, some people are going to be like, really, this was your favorite one? But no, I loved King of the Chair. I think because I loved seeing all the ways the siblings could ruin Dad's new chair. I loved the scene with Lincoln where, like, he was imagining the chair talking to him. The chair was like, "Lincoln, come sit on me." And they had like the big eyes, and it was like, oh my gosh, what is this? Like, it was so crazy. Like, I don't know why. I really loved that one just because, like, in the end, like, they, fixed the chair for Dad because they felt bad for ruining it. And I don't know, I just found that one really fun.
I just like that montage scene where the Loud siblings were breaking their dad's stuff. I thought that was kind of funny to me.
I even love that Rita got it because, like, when he was thinking through the stuff, it's like, "Rita, I found your script!" It's just like, Rita was, like, trying to, like, defend the chair, but it's like, no, you were in on it too! Yeah, and like, the 2 other shorts, too, the Letty one, I absolutely love because we've been hearing about this film...
Yeah, she's a detective.
Yes, and it was in black and white. Yeah, we've been hearing about this one for a long time, and I was really excited for it because I love film noir. So the fact they did an entire, like, parody of it with Lenny being a detective was really smart, and I just loved the aesthetic of it and all the characters' new outfits. I kind of wish this could have been a full episode, honestly.
Yeah, the weird thing is that, at the end of the short, the Nickel logo appears, but it's all gray.
Yes! I love that detail so much. Like, I'm glad they put some, detail into that, like, yeah, it was just, I love that one so much. It's really great.
Like, wait, and I know when it was like, wait, what? My screen is gray? I gotta fix this. I thought that at first, but then, okay. And then I come back to it, and it's like, oh, everything's back to normal.
Yeah, and then the other short put a sock into it is very interesting and very exciting because Lily actually said a sentence. She actually said a sentence. Oh my gosh, that was crazy.
It was awesome.
It's like, okay.
Lily did say some words, but she didn't really pronounce them correctly. But in this she did. I think she did.
Yeah, because, like, other times she'll say, like, one word, like, she, like, in the little episode, she's like, Lily, Lola, la, but here she actually said a sentence. And then, like, I feel like it's hinting, season 5 where Lily's gonna learn to actually talk.
I think that's gonna be a thing. I think that's gonna be a thing.
Yeah, and I like that one too because all the siblings contributed to the episode where they were putting on a little puppet show for her, and Lily was so unimpressed. And I loved like the little callback to like Lincoln and Lucy from like Slew for Consequences, or like Wayne and Luna. Wayne and Luna, like I feel like in season 5 we're gonna have an episode where these two go to therapy. Like, what is up with these two? You know, they're always
Yeah,
arguing, they're always
they have a
fighting.
complicated relationship,
Yeah, it's
obviously.
like they need some help. We need to figure out what's up with these two. Like, if we don't get a Luann and Luna episode season 5, then that season's not going to be worth it. You know, we need an episode about them.
I mean, I always thought these two were, solid, not solid, like solid, not only siblings but friends too. So,
But it just seems like every minute they're always fighting or just arguing or just don't like each other. And it's just like, well, even when we were in Horde, they were kind of bonding, but that's like the rare time we'd ever see them not arguing anymore. So something is up with these two, and we need to know what happened. Like, I really need to know.
yeah.
So yeah, all those shorts were awesome. Like I loved all of them. Like I'm really glad that we actually got brand new shorts instead of the ones they printed on YouTube. So I'm really happy that we actually got to see all of these.
Yeah, I'm glad too.
Yep, so those were the Loud House shorts that printed after the episodes. But let's talk about the episodes. So the first episodes we're going to talk about are from the Loud House. The first one being Sand Hassles. Lucy and the
Ooh,
Morticians Club try to thwart plans for
nice.
his school field trip to the beach. So since you're my guest, I'd like you to go first. What did you think of this episode, Sand Hassles?
I liked how since Lucy's a goth, you do realize that goths and vampires are two different things. So Lucy is perfectly capable of having fun in the beach. Like at first she thinks it's bad, but then at the end she's like, okay, yeah, this is really cool. But then as well as her other friends, they think it's cool too.
Yeah,
But
like. Mm-hmm.
they try to prevent they want to there were like times where they would prevent Principal Huggins from letting them go, but they still but they didn't regret it, but they regretted doing that, and they're having fun at the beach. So how about you? What did you think of the episode?
I think this is one of the best Lucy episodes to date because they actually took a chance to explore her character in a way I never thought they'd do again. Because my favorite episode with Lucy still is Spell It Out from season 2. No other
Oh yeah,
episode
that
has beat
episode was
that.
really good.
Yeah, and so like this episode I thought was gonna be just her and the Mortician Club ruining the field trip. But the fact they went about it where they had Lucy actually enjoy the beach, I didn't see that coming. You know, I was like, oh well, she actually really likes the beach and is trying to hide it from her friends that she actually enjoys doing this because when this episode was announced, people kept saying, "Wait, doesn't Lucy like the beach or like Aloha Beach, where she said she liked the shark attacks?" And obviously, they're going to the lake.
Actually, I shouldn't have been surprised because the season 1 episode Intense Debate, hints pretty much Lucy stated that she wants to go to the beach, but
Yeah,
only because of shark attacks.
right.
So technically Lucy, so technically this may be just a nitpick, but I don't think Lucy had no reason to complain because they were gonna go to the beach because she liked going to the beach in a way earlier episode in season 1.
Well, I think maybe because she didn't want her mortician club friends to know, because maybe they don't like the beach. Because like she was saying how like, oh,
Oh,
we
yeah.
hate sand, we hate sports and stuff like that, and also Lucy being good at sports. Like I guess because because her roommate is Lynn, so she must get some like
Prob-
love of that from Lynn. You know.
yeah, I think Lynn teaches her a lot.
Yeah, so like the fact that they did explore her character in a way that was like not expecting because, we all should not be surprised that Lucy likes the beach, but with the Loud House, I complained about continuity, what's that? So sometimes they kind of forget important character stuff. So actually, so the fact they actually were like, oh, Lucy does like the beach. Oh, well, they actually remember she liked the beach. So that's cool. But it's like, yeah, I really liked
She
how.
remembers she likes the beach, but she doesn't want to tell her friends because she they think that she's uncool.
Yeah. So, like, again, like, her trying to hide that she likes the beach, but in the end, she had to tell him she actually did. I really, really like that. So, I love this episode because it really surprised me that they actually did that instead of just, oh, we're gonna ruin the field trip by sabotaging everything. No, they actually just were like, no, Lucy loves the beaches, just hide it from her
Yeah,
friends. That
exactly.
was such a great surprise to me.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I think this episode was really, like, really good just because they explored Lucy's character in that way.
Yeah, I love how it only featured Lucy and nobody else. It was
Yeah.
like that was. I mean, yeah. Now, like nowadays in season 4, there have been episodes where because ever since ever since the middle of season 3, Lincoln hasn't been present for most of these episodes often.
Yeah. And a lot of people have actually been starting to complain about that, and I'm like, well, I was with you there during season 3, but I like it because, again, we get episodes focused on characters that deserve this attention, besides Lincoln. Like, back in season 1, people were always complaining, where's the little
Yeah,
Ori episode? Where's the Lenny episode? Now we
yeah,
have it, and then people are like, well, where's the Lincoln episode? It's like, well, you guys wanted more sisters, they're giving you more sisters. Lincoln's still the main character, he'll still have
yeah,
moments, but at
yeah,
least get like an
exactly.
episode from a character that you actually enjoy.
It's the same thing with the Casagrandes. I want there to be Sedani episodes, but I want to give the other characters some love as well. So I'm not that person. I'm not that kind of person.
Yeah, I feel like we've had less Sidani episodes than Clinket episodes of season
To
one.
be,
Like,
f- I mean, yeah, but to be fair, they're just trying to give more attention to the other characters. Like I think we didn't get. Uh, Wait, did we get every episode? Wait, did we get every episode about the Casagrande characters, or there's still a few left?
no, there's one left, Frida. Frida's the
Oh
only
yeah, that.
one that
Oh,
hasn't had an episode about her, and we're getting that. So yeah, no, all of
oh,
them have had it.
right. So, I think maybe they're gonna make more Sidoni in season 2. So,
Hopefully, yeah. Cause like
but not let's not overuse. Let's not overdo it.
I mean, come on, more Sidani, man. I mean, come on, you wouldn't complain.
Well, I wouldn't. Well, I like Sidani, but I don't want it to be in. I don't want it to take up 90% of a season of the show.
Well, I feel like more people would enjoy more Sidani than Clinket episodes.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm just trying to make. I'm just trying to like make it fair. Like
No,
I
that's
want.
true. That's true. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, like, I'm still waiting for another Two of Clubs because I feel like the other Sidani episodes are not
I
like
want.
stacked up to Two
Yeah,
of
the Two of
Clubs.
Clubs is still my favorite, and it probably will that be until they make an episode that probably ranks higher than that.
Yeah, I'm still waiting on that because like, as much as I like the Sidani episodes, it's like nothing compares to Two of Clubs, and they need to make
Yeah, the Two
another.
of Clubs like so much shipping fuel. I
Yeah,
couldn't even. This
yeah,
episode, not gonna lie, this episode kind of drove me to tears.
I can imagine. Yeah, like I love that episode so much. It's like I want another
I mean, I
episode
know
like
it
that.
sounds weird, but hear me out. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it sounds weird, but I actually it kind of drove me to tears a little bit.
Why?
It was just so good. Like, it was just so cute. Like seeing these how much Ronnie and Sid value their friendship over a club.
Yeah, and how much they went about like like even though they wanted to join different clubs, they still wanted to be together. It just shows how strong their relationship is.
Yeah.
And I mean that is wonderful. That episode can make you cry. I mean, I feel the same way about Horoscope every time I watch that. Man, that makes me
Yeah, I bet it's
cry.
your favorite episode of the show,
Oh, for sure, for many reasons.
I like that episode too because it's like Ronnie Ann is like very nervous because he's like, oh, like there's like a moment there's like that moment where Licky is about to show her a magic trick and then Ronnie Ann is like freaking
Yeah.
out.
Like just the suit scene where he like he just comes out in the suit. She goes, "Oh wow, makes me lose it every time." It's like, come on, to tell him how you feel. Don't hide it. Uh.
And then he's like, and then Ronnie's like, don't do this. It'll ruin everything. And then Linky's like, I'm not that bad at magic. And then the Ronnie just made a fool of herself.
Yeah, it was just man, that episode makes me lose it. Like that, those two episodes are so great, and I'm waiting for the next two episodes that'll just top those two. Like, uh,
I want to be honest with you. I kind of want an episode. I want another episode with Lincoln in it in the
oh my
Casagrandes.
god, oh my god. The day Lincoln comes back in the Casagrandes and we get another like Roddykin or even Sidonikin episode is like the day I die happy.
I want there to be a moment where these three are on screen together.
Oh my god, like a whole episode. Like I dream of the day we get a full on Sidonikin episode. Like
I
that...
mean, you know those comics? You know those comics where there's Sidonikin in it?
Yes.
Maybe I hope they make an animated version of it.
Oh my god, they did like a whole short of that comic.
I mean, the comic Deuce is Wild from the Loud House, that was originally a comic, but now it's an animated short.
Yeah. Like, oh my god, like if they did that I think all of us in the fandom would just lose our minds. Oh my god.
Exactly.
Just the like when the vlogs were a thing, like that one vlog where Lincoln talked to Sid for like a second, I had the biggest fangirl moment during that time. It was just
I was squealing actually.
Oh, but we're getting off topic. We still got episodes to talk about.
We're not done yet.
Oh.
How could we forget?
Yeah, it's like, whoops, we're gonna go into like another rant now. We got episodes to talk about. Let's move on. Before we get more off topic, let's move on to the next episode, Wheel and Deal, which is Lana wants to win a race car ride along with her hero, so she and Lincoln enter to compete a soapbox derby. So I'm gonna go first on this one because I was so excited for this one because it is a Lincoln...
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. It was a Lincoln and sister episode when we haven't had that in such a long time. And of course we had Game Off, which was also focused on Lana and Lincoln. And they seem to really like this pairing, which, obviously it's a great pairing. Like, I love them in this episode, how they work together to build the soapbox car. And it was mostly focused on Lincoln, which, I'm a Lincoln fan, so I love when he gets focused. And the fact that he went out of his way to quote-unquote cheat, which is not a good thing, but he did it because he cares about Lana. He cared about her feelings.
He doesn't want her to get humiliated.
Exactly, and he wanted her to, meet her hero. And so even though cheating wasn't the best option, it's like, I didn't want you to lose because I wanted you to win to see your hero, and that shows how much he cares about Lana. And I love when Lincoln is portrayed as a great big brother to his younger siblings in that way. And I love their relationship so much, Lana and Lincoln. Like, it was so great in this episode, and I really want to see more of that. And also because when I heard about this episode, I'm getting off topic, but I'm getting into The Simpsons now, and there's an episode like this in season 3 called Saturdays of Thunder, where Homer and Bart build a soapbox car and compete in the race. So it really reminded me of that episode, even though that was a different plot. It's more like, in this episode, the same thing where Lincoln was putting his feelings aside towards Lana and really caring about her and didn't want her to get humiliated. But of course she found out that he was cheating and got upset. But then they decided to race again, but then do it all over, and then just stopped at the end. And I love that they did that. Like, I love that the family stayed during the night and just slept while they finished the race, and then Bobby came back, and really appreciate how they actually built their own car, because all the kids bought their own cars. It's like, wow, they're all lazy.
Yeah,
but I absolutely love this episode. What do you think of this episode?
It was great. I liked the Lincoln and Lana pairings. I mean, we didn't get that since the Game Off, and the episode Frog Wild. That was a Lincoln and Lana pairing episode, and I liked it.
Me too.
But with the Wheel and Deal, Lincoln and Lana, they're just she's like, Lana's one of the nicest sisters ever, so it wouldn't be easy for her and Lincoln to get start something together, racing, start a race thing.
Yeah. And also this episode has the official return of Chandler.
I hate him. I hated him in the waiting game. I hated him in Gears for Fears. I hated him in the Clink and McCloud podcast episode, and now I hate him here.
Yeah, like I am so mad that they decided to bring him back. It's like I know we need an antagonist for Lincoln to go up against because he's going to middle school. I know, but it's like, can we just not bring back Chandler? Like I just every time I see his face, it just makes me so angry. You know,
His smug face. I just want his smug face. Like I just hate it. I don't like it at all.
I mean, I'm glad he wasn't in it for too long and he wasn't too mean to like Lincoln, you know, but it's like you're such a jerk and I just don't want you to be around. But of course he's coming back.
Like when Lincoln and Clyde were walking up to Chandler, and Chandler was like, "Did you weirdos come out of the bush?" And then they're like, "That's not important."
I love that part though. He was like, "Did you come out of the bush?" It's like, "Oh, that's not important." That was funny, but like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I love to.
I like this scene where I like that little scene where Lynn was like
Yes.
to Chandler. They're gonna kick your butts, and then Chandler just whimpers in fear. Like that was satisfying.
Oh my gosh, that was so satisfying. Like, I love that.
Exactly.
I love that they included that. Like, Lynn just like shouting at him. It's like you're gonna eat their dust. Like, man, if we get more Chandler in the show, and like Chandler, I guess like teases Lincoln or actually quote unquote bullies him, I want Lynn to just stand up to him. Like that's when she goes full big sister mode on Chandler.
I like Lynn because of that.
Yeah, I love that she will defend her siblings in any possible way. But yeah, like I love this episode so much. I think it's great. Like I don't think it's as great as Game Off because when I watched Game Off, that ending where Lincoln got upset at Lana for playing the game and he got so mad at her, that affected me in a way I not like. There's so many episodes of the show that affected me in a personal way, but that scene where he got mad at her in Game Off affected me so much because I'd never seen Lincoln that upset at a sister before in that way. I mean, I'm sure there were times where he was, but it was so emotional that it was like it affected me so hard.
Which didn't seem like Lincoln at all because Lincoln is usually so positive and happy.
Yeah, well, you know how people are with their video games. If you mess up and start all over again, people will get upset for no reason. It's like, oh, my progress!
I'm not saying it's wrong. I understand why he's like that.
I think it makes him more mature then, that he actually can get upset over the little things, you know?
Okay, yeah.
I mean, yeah, it didn't seem like Lincoln, of course, but it's like, oh, well, I think it's more like they're trying to show a more human side to him again, where it's like, yeah, he can get upset over the littlest things, even if it was like over a silly video game, you know?
Oh.
But here, like, I really just love that he really did care about Lana and, like, didn't cheat for the sake of cheating. He did it because he cared about her, even though it was wrong, though.
This reminds me of like let me talk about it. Let me reference another show.
Okay.
Phineas and Ferb, where the movie where Phineas gets angry at Perry for not revealing his identity.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a little similar to how Lincoln is acting.
Oh, really? Why do you think that?
Because Phineas is not he's not an angry person. He's so positive and happy and all like you don't like he's so positive 100% of the time that you don't get much of an arc out of him, and he's not growing as a character.
Yeah, like, I remember when I watched the movie, that was the one thing I complained about, was why is Phineas getting upset? But I think it's because...
Yeah, but it's understandable because he's been lied to by his own pet.
Yeah, and that he cares about Perry, so, like, there's a reason why he would get upset.
Exactly. Like, you can't be mad at Phineas, because I think the people were trying, when working on the movie, they tried to make Phineas angry, while at the same time not trying to make him sound like a jerk.
Yeah, it's an understandable thing about him being upset, because, like, yeah, Perry was lying to him this whole time, so he would be upset.
Yeah, exactly.
So, any more thoughts on Wheel and Deal?
Well, I think I really like a racing episode. I really like that race car. I really like it's a fun race car episode with Lincoln and Lana. And I love how Lincoln and Clyde decide to, bring back their friends to help him with Lana and with not necessarily cheating, but more like helping.
Yeah.
Because
I really like how they included the friends, because, like, we're going to be getting a friend episode, Friends of Dry Places, which I'm so nervous about. That's the other one
Yeah,
I'm
we're
nervous about. Oh my gosh. Like, Lincoln feeling left out, that his friends are going off to do other things on a field trip. That's scaring me.
yeah, the fear of he couldn't stand the thought of fearing losing his friends, especially Clyde, because if he did lose them, then he would be really sad.
Yeah, like, I'm not ready for that one.
Yeah, me neither.
Grandparent Trap, Friends of Dry Places, those two episodes are gonna mess me up when they come out.
Yeah.
Alright, so let's move on to the thing we're here for, of course, which is the Casagrande
The
episodes.
main thing.
The main thing! Yes, Casa G's. We love them Casa G's. Let's talk about the Casagrandes. So the first episode is Kama Chameleon. I love that. I love that title so much. I'm a huge 80s music fan, so the fact they actually titled an episode after an 80s song, that gets a plus from me, man. Alright.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk about that episode. So, the Changs leave Ronnie and her cousins to watch after Cam, the chameleon snake. So I'll go first, because I'll let you go next on team effort. So, I
Oh, thank you.
Yep, you gotta go. You're my guest on that one, because I know you have a lot to say on that one.
Yes, I do.
Yes, so Karma Chameleon, we've heard about this episode for a while. When the show was first announced, they talked about an episode where Ronnie was taking care of a snake, and this is that episode. And I thought this was a fun one, like the cousins of Ronnie and trying to take care of all of the amphibians in the household, and the fact that we also got the return of Mr. Scully in the spinoff. He's officially in the spinoff now. It's been a while since we've seen him.
Yeah.
So now he's in the spinoff.
I was thinking
Yeah.
thing too. But...
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. And he had this rule about no reptiles in the building. I'm really surprised that the Changs didn't know this rule, or they've been breaking it for a while, because we've seen them have these these creatures in their house before, or even Froggy too, for that matter. So I like people.
Yeah, Froggy broked.
Yeah, and people kept telling me, but wait, like, amphibians are reptiles, so that's not a bad thing. But it's like, okay, well, why would they hide Froggy 2 anyway? It's, I don't know, but it's like, it's just weird that they had this rule that they probably knew, or just they didn't know, and it was like enforced because Mr. Scully doesn't like reptiles. So when he came, they had to hide the reptiles from Mr. Scully, and I just thought it was fun the way that they were just like running around the building trying to hide the reptiles from Mr. Scully, and all the ways they're trying to stop him from seeing it. And I don't have a lot to say on this episode. I think it was just like a fun one, and I also really liked Frida in this episode, how she was paranoid and scared of the snake, and then like Ronnie would see her all the pages, and she's like, "What are you doing? I'm painting out my trauma." Frida's my favorite Casagrande, so I'm glad that we're getting an episode about her soon. But like every time she does something, it's just so funny to me, and yeah, I don't know. Like I thought this was a really, really fun one. What'd you think of Karma Chameleon?
It was fun. It was actually really funny. I mean, I love the concept of Sid and the Changs leaving Ronnie in. Her pet snake. Their pet snake. It's like. I think they had something going for it, and once again, and like you mentioned before, they brought back Mr. Scully from the spinoff, and from the Loud House into the spinoff.
Yeah.
So, at the title card, I was actually, the title card. You were predicting the title card was going to be Scully was going to be in this episode, right?
Yes. The moment I saw the shadow, I was like, wait, that's Mr. Scully. And then
at first I saw this title card, I was like, Mr. Scully, what happened to you?
Yeah,
he can be really strict, but I was like, dude.
Yeah, like the moment they posted the clip from the episode and they said Mr. Scully, I was like, I knew it. I knew he was gonna be in the episode, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, where have you been? It's like, what took you so long to be in the spinoff? I'm surprised they took him forever to put Mr. Scully in the spinoff.
It's the first season, so it wasn't that long.
That's true, but it's like we're like, I don't know, 17 episodes into the Casagrandes.
Yeah, and it's already been a year since Sid's first appearance on the show.
Yeah. So it's like, oh my gosh, you have to remember Mr. Scully, because I thought he was just gonna be a one-off,
Yeah, exactly.
I also really loved in the beginning with Adelaide, she was hugging Ronnie in the whole time, saying, "You're the best pet sitter." It's like, Oh, I love Adelaide. She's so cute. That was one of the most precious moments in the show.
Yeah, it was actually saying I like that scene where Adelaide is saying Ryan is the best pet sitter ever, and yeah, that was a little cute moment.
Yeah, and I'm trying to think of what else I liked in this episode. I also really love the when they did the little chase. What was that? No, go ahead.
Oh, I wanted to say something. There's like a little scene where Ronian is about to like some sort of like get that like some sort of wrestling the snake. That was
Yes.
really funny.
I love that. I love that. And I also really like this the chase scene where they do like they have like the music in the background and the color palette is like yellows and purples. Like I love that they go like beyond what the animation can do in these episodes. Like I love that scene. It's really pretty to look at.
The Loud House. I mean, the Loud House and Casagrandes animations are slightly different, or they're mostly the same, but I can tell they're slightly different because I watch both shows and I study their animation and
Yes.
like yeah, they're like slightly different.
Yeah, as someone who's in animation, I've studied animation for a career. Like with the Casagrandes, especially when you get the Loud House characters in the show, Lincoln and Lori are animated in such a way where it's like, okay, you could tell it's them, but they have some slight alterations in the animation, whether it's like they do something with the animation where it's more like they can feel more they can be more expressive with the characters versus the Loud House where the Loud House has more like a strict kind of clean style where they don't like to exaggerate too much on the characters. And the Casagrandes, they really push the animation in that show. I don't know why they do that because when the Radian comes into the Loud House, like in Don't Forget About Me, she's animated in such a way where it's so clean and crisp. Whereas in the Casagrandes, she's more expressive and stretched out. And it's the same animation studio. I don't know. I just feel like they just do a lot more with the spin-off where
Okay.
yeah, no, go ahead.
Yeah, and thank you. Here's the thing. I've already watched the Loud House since it came out, and I've already studied the animation. I've only realized that there's like two animation styles in an episode, but they were like kind of the same. They felt similar.
Yeah.
So that's kind of so that and it's been going on for like the entire series, and that was something really cool. But for the Casagrandes, they only had one.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's about it. You wanted to say something else?
Oh
Sorry
no,
for interrupting.
I was gonna say something about you. What you said about that.
Oh,
So yeah. So any more thoughts on Karma Chameleon?
well, I like how it's a reference to a film with the exact same name. The best part about it, I love how Mr. Scully was like, everybody out. Is what I would have said, but that was kind of funny.
That scared me for a moment. He's like, all right, everybody out. It's what I would have said. Like that was pretty funny. Oh, I love the.
And I guess my
yeah.
headcanon about the episode was kind of wrong, but
What did you headcanon about the episode?
it was on Twitter where it was on Sid where like Sid tells her that headcanon seemed a bit weird, but Sid was like Sid told her on the end to take care of the pets, and then she kissed her cheek goodbye, like kisses her cheek goodbye, and I'm like, okay, that didn't come out, but that's okay.
I was hoping for a hug when Sid left. Like, why didn't Ronnie and Sid hug and say, "I'll see you later" or something? I kind of wish that would have
Yeah,
happened.
yeah, that headcanon seems a little better though.
Yeah, yours is better.
No,
But
yours is better.
oh, mine is better. Oh well, thank you. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
like,
the kissing part, I really don't want to see it.
oh, you do. Oh, well, I would have liked a kiss on the cheek. That would have been so cute.
Oh, yeah. Okay, never mind. I take it back.
My prediction was Sid that the Shanks were gonna come back at the end and be like, "Oh, so how did everything go?" And they were gonna be like,
Yeah,
"Great," but they didn't.
but it didn't. That's kind of the weakest part of the episode. They only appear for a brief amount of the time in the beginning, and then they're never seen again. They should have appeared in the end.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for. They were like, "Oh, hey guys, we're back. So how did it go?" And they're like, "Great," but no, that didn't happen. They just kind of ended it with Mr. Scully being like, "No more rule, yay!"
I liked it, and like Bobby, he comes into a room and he noticed snakes, and he's like, "Why did it have to be snakes?"
Oh my god, they had to make that reference. They had to. It's like you just can't.
And Carl was like, Bobby, there's a snake on your back. And then Bobby bought it. He fell for it, and and I was like, come on, Carl, was that even
I
necessary?
love when after that Carl like high fives the snake or high
Fist
like
bump,
fist bump is
whatever.
like, yeah, we got him. Yeah, like I thought this was a fun one, but of course, let's talk about the thing we are here for, the episode we're here for, which is team effort. Roddy and her skate buddies work together to show their coach that they have what it takes to make a team. So I'll let you go on this one. What did you think of this episode?
I have a lot of things to say, but I'm not gonna, say too much about it. I wanna let you
No, no, go
do.
ahead. You are free to say as much as you want.
Okay,
There's
so
no
I
limit
really
here.
love. I'm glad to see Ronnie and his friends ever since Team Effort. I mean, no, not Team Effort, since Trend Game, which was all the way back in February. And the concept and Team. The two episodes, Karma Chameleon and Team Effort. I predicted the premises for the episodes, and when they came out, I was like, called it. So that
Yeah.
was pretty cool.
I knew right away when this episode was announced, I was like, yeah, it's going to be about her skate friends doing a skate team. And the moment it came out, called it.
Yeah, I think we both called it. So yeah, I literally liked seeing these. I really liked seeing Nikki, Casey, and Samir on screen, and Laird gets to join their gang too. So because now when I saw the episode, I was like, okay, Laird can definitely shred, and like he's I thought Laird couldn't skate, but when I saw the episode, I was like, wow, he's really nailing the trick. He's really doing something. The one thing he couldn't do is stop, but he has to work on that.
Anything else? I know you got a lot more to say. I'm letting you
Uh,
go.
I really love how they introduced the. This actually reminds me of the podcast episode where Ronnie and Sid and their friends are trying to find the mystery of the hallway gunk, and they mentioned their coach, and I didn't know what their coach was gonna look like until this episode came out, and I was like, wow, this is what their coach looks like, because I can tell he didn't like these guys skating at all.
Yeah, I'll have a lot to say on him when I get to my turn.
Okay, but then I love this was actually the second episode to only include Ronnie and Sid and their friends instead of the Casagrande family. I think we haven't gotten that since the two of clubs.
Yes.
So that's kind of what I like to that's kind of like interesting, and I was like, okay, we need episodes like this. The one thing I sort of found a little off was when the girls Ronnie and Sid were flashbacking to the very first to the friended episode, and like there was like a moment in the flashback where Sid crashes, and I was like, that did not happen. Ronnie Ann saved her life there. So
Yeah, that was a little weird. It was like, wait, she crashed? No, she didn't. Ronnie and saved her.
yeah.
Unless Sid was just forgetting how it happened.
Yeah, she probably did.
She clearly had a mild concussion the moment she met Ronnie. Yeah, I thought that scene where they flashback to Freddy was so well done. Just the fact they did not just a flashback with a fourth wall break where
I
Sid.
actually, they were wearing the outfits because their coach told them to. I got that one kind of right, but the hot dog one I got that wrong because you got that right because she was because Sid was the mascot.
Well,
So
we wanted Sid to be a cheerleader. I mean, I guess it's the same thing, but I wasn't expecting it to be a hot dog costume. I was hoping for a cheerleader outfit.
yeah, yeah, me too. It was actually. I wanted her to be a cheerleader, but I guess a hot dog costume works too.
I mean, both her and Ronnie agreed on that. I love when they're both like, I'm thinking a hot dog. Great minds think alike. It's like, oh, they're so in sync. That's so cute.
Nice. They're gonna be in sync for a very long time.
Absolutely. Like, I love that so much. Although, I remember somebody on Twitter was saying about this, I kind of agree with them, where, like, they were convincing people to join them. But, okay, here's the one thing. They're convincing people to join their team, and then Rodney was like, join, we got free tacos. And I'm thinking to myself, but in the last episode, the summer episodes, you didn't want to, you were trying to stop Carl from bribing people. Rodney in, you're bribing people.
Okay, the one thing I also liked about the episode is like there was like the little scene where Ronnie and Sid are trying to free their classmates from getting framed. And the
Yeah.
weird thing is that Ronnie and Sid were the only ones who didn't get framed.
Yeah, that's true. I wonder why they didn't, you know? Like, why did the
Maybe
coach frame their friends but not them, you know?
exactly.
Yeah, and I have a
Maybe
lot to say on
I'm
that.
assuming that maybe the coach didn't know what to frame them for, so he sort of gave up and decided to frame their friends.
Yeah.
That was my best guess, but
I mean, what he framed it for was pretty, like, simple, you know, like, just, like, I don't know, vandalizing the like, stuff. Like, they could have blamed Ronnie and Sid. I don't know why he didn't. I guess he didn't think this through.
maybe they've gone through and maybe they've went through enough. I think
Yeah, like, okay,
maybe they
I have to
level
do a
out
rant
their
on the
front.
coach. I have to do a rant on the coach.
Okay, go ahead. Do the rant on the coach. I'm all ears.
I okay. Well, one thing, this guy could have gotten fired, you know, for what he did. He blamed 11-year-olds for stupid things and like did all this and it was like, okay, I wanted to stop you guys from doing your team because I hate skateboarders. And so it's like, okay, you decided to blame them and get them detention and then give them a fake address, which, by the way, they should have looked at and realized the giant margaritas was crossed off. Like, why didn't they think for a moment that when they saw the card and was like, the crossed off margaritas should have said something, you know? It was, like, pretty obvious when they got the card, but I guess they didn't look at it. But it's like, that coach...
No,
No, go ahead.
and then the sign was and then when Ronnie took her thumb off the paper said he
Yeah.
the coach got them.
Yeah, it's like, wow, they're not as smart as they think, but it's like, this coach could have gotten fired for what he did. You know, he blamed 11-year-olds just because he didn't like skateboard. You're like, dude, like, wow, I never thought I could find a character I'd hate more than Flip or Chandler, but this coach, if he ever comes back, even though he's like, okay, you can have your team, no, dude, you don't get redeemed for that. That was awful. Don't ever do that again. Like, that made me really angry, you know?
So Sid can finally skate, but I don't think she can do any tricks. Maybe we'll see that in the future.
You know, I had a complaint about that too because in Sid's room, you probably know this. She has a skateboard in her room.
Oh yeah, she does.
So why is she first starting to skateboard if she has one already? I don't
Yeah,
understand that.
you have to learn skate. You have to learn tricks. You have to at least skateboard before you can own a skateboard.
Because I thought maybe she got one because when she became friends with Roddy and she was teaching her how to skateboard, but it's like then Sid was like, oh, I don't know how to skateboard. It's like, but don't you have a skateboard in your room? That made
Yeah,
me kind
that
of
could have
confused.
been pointed out in the show.
Unless
Let
they
me see
just
that.
put in the background or like, oh yeah, like we forgot it was in her room, but clearly it was. So it's like, I don't know. It made me kind of confused that this was her first time learning to skateboard because I would have thought Ronnie Ann would be teaching her in the background, but I guess not. But now she is, so that makes sense.
Yeah, that's really sweet of her.
Yeah, it is. It really is. But like, yeah, I'm sure it you know like Ronnie will teach Sid more tricks in that time because like I was thinking to myself, wait, how can Sid be on the team and also be the mascot? I thought the mascot was separate from the team, but I guess it counts because she was like, oh, I can be on the team and be the mascot. All right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I also love Laird being part of the team too. Like they're clearly making Laird like the unofficial member of the team. Like he's not like part of the group, but he's kind of in there. Where it's like he kind of reminds me of like in Lincoln's gang, like maybe like Girl Jordan or even well Stella's part of the gang now. But I'm saying like maybe Girl Jordan, where it's like they know.
But
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I'm so glad they decided to add three girls and three boys, because you have Ronnie Ann, Sid, and Nikki, and then the boys who are Casey, Samir, and Laird.
Yeah, so to make it fair to add 3 boys and 3 girls, and it's like I think you or someone else. I think someone else predicted that Laird would be a very good skateboarder. So the fact that he was, it was like very surprising to me. But also, I knew
That wasn't me.
okay.
That was
Someone did predict that Laird would be like the best skateboarder. It's like he's great, but he can't stop.
I yeah that kind of I kind of saw that in the episode, the Casagrandes Familia Sounds podcast, were like, oh, Laird can skate, but he can't stop.
Yeah, I completely forgot about that they mentioned in the podcast.
So yeah, this definitely reminds me because I'm assuming because these episodes that we see now, we they've been worked on since 2000, since last year, since I believe since last year.
Yeah.
So because it generally takes months to make an episode. Like Fast Few, that episode was released 2019. So well, not released 2019, but production for the episode began 2019.
Yes. But yeah, I really
It,
like this one because again, it was another Ronnie and her gang episode. We got to see Nikki, Casey, Samir again after Shrine Games. To see that they're still included in the spinoff, and now Ronnie Ann has her own group of friends like Lincoln. I think it's pretty awesome that they've done that. So I love to see more episodes with all of them together again.
yeah, exactly.
So any final thoughts on team effort?
Team effort, I really like. We really need to see more of these guys on screen.
Absolutely. Like, with the Casagrandes, I say the
Like
Casa.
even if we don't get Sidani episodes, we can at least have Sidani moments in the show,
Yeah.
like in an episode.
Yeah,
So
like,
at least we have that.
yeah, there was a few Sidani moments in this episode, but not a lot, like, but at least we get some, so I still would like to see more of these guys together in future episodes. Oh,
The coach reminds me of Coach Bukowski from the Loud House.
yeah, I was gonna say that too. That's probably why they needed to include that. But I had a thoughts that I was like, wait, why do Ronnie and her friends need to join a sports team? I remember like in two clubs they had to join a club. Is this school just requiring them to join a bunch of clubs and teams and stuff? I don't get
So
that.
I guess skating is now a club. I guess I don't know.
It's not a club, it's like a team. It's like a sports team. It's not a club because, like, wait, is it wrestling?
Oh.
Is it wrestling a sport? Because, like, in two clubs, they had the Lucha Libre Club. And I would have thought that was, like, a sport. So I don't know why they're making them join a sports team if it's, like, a club, too. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why are you requiring them to join a sports team? Like, is that really required in a school like this? Because, like, it's like an academy. I don't know. I don't really know about academies 'cause I went to public school, so I don't really
Yeah,
know if it's like required in those kinds of schools to join so many like teams and clubs and stuff.
exactly.
It is very confusing, but I really like this episode. I hope we get to see more of them together. And what, the Casagrandes, they're great at continuity. I say better in the Loud House with continuity. So I hope we get to see more of their team or their club. I say team, their team together, and maybe we'll get an actual. Because I was hoping this episode.
Like Ronnie and Sid created this Lucha Libre Robotics Club, and I thought that was gonna be a recurring club in the series.
Yeah, like we haven't had that in a while. They haven't even
But then you
mentioned
have
that.
these, but then these guys are like, okay, we're doing skating because it's probably more fun, I guess.
Yeah, so like, are they not in the club anymore? Are they just like, cause like you can't like unless that you, I mean, you can like do other after school activities, but like, is the team after school? Is it like during school? I mean, the club is after school. I know that, so it's like very confusing on whether they're
But this
keeping.
is during school.
Is it during school? Yeah, so it's like, is it like, I mean, I guess they could do it different days. Like maybe they'll have the Lucha Libre Robotics Club on one day, and then like the skateboard team on another. I don't know. It's very confusing when you think about it.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
But yeah, like I really did enjoy this episode a lot. Like although I had a lot of complaints about it, mainly with the coach and how he went about like, you know, like punishing 11-year
I have
olds.
mixed feelings on the coach.
Oh, do tell.
Uh, for one, I mean, he's not. I mean, in my opinion, I do understand why he doesn't like people skateboarding because he thinks that it's gonna ruin he's gonna ruin his time or like ruin his coffee or whatever. Like I think that's somewhat understandable because he doesn't he I mean yeah that that part where he kicks these guys out of out of the school was kind of unnecessary.
Yeah.
He could have had a better idea for them.
But I don't. His reason for not liking sports is not justified to me. Just because, oh, it's gonna ruin your day. Like, like la di da. Who cares? Like I think it's a stupid reason. Like you shouldn't do that, especially to 11-year-olds. That's really mean. Like you could get fired.
Right now I just overall this episode was all this was really a fun fun gang episode where these guys are always on. Seeing these guys on screen together is very exciting, and we probably need more of these, like with Lincoln Clyde and their friends. We from the Loud House. I think they need to do something like that.
Yeah, like again, we had Trend Game, and then we have this episode. So I'm hoping in the future we do get more of these. But even so, I would love if Lincoln comes back in the show to finally get a full episode with him, Sid, and the City Friends with Ronnie Ann, because he's already met them as City Slickers. And he's already met Sid, so to get a full episode with all of them together would be amazing if that happens.
Ronnie and I know I'm only gonna say this. I'm not gonna say this like I hate it or I don't like it. I'm not saying I hate it or I don't like it or I like it. I'm just gonna say this. Ronnie Ann met Nikki, Casey, and Samir before Sid, but Ronnie Ann and Sid's friendship became more stronger, or it's probably
Yeah.
stronger.
Yeah, I think because, like, I had this headcanon years ago when Sid was first announced. It was like, well, with Friended, Ronnie Ann was feeling lonely, and I feel like maybe Nikki, Case, and Samir, even though they're her quote-unquote, they were her quote-unquote gang, they weren't, like, best friends. Like, they all weren't close and stuff. Like, because obviously Nikki, Case, and Samir seemed to know each other before they met Ronnie Ann, so maybe they were closer, and maybe that's why Ronnie Ann didn't feel like that she was like part of it. She was like, oh, well, I'm just hanging out with them just on the side, but they're not really my best friends. Like, and her other best friend Lincoln is far away, so like if Friended, she wanted a best friend that she could feel closer to and spend time with and stuff. So that's when she met Sid and had a stronger connection with her, because like this girl is crazy and fun and I love spending time with her. We have a lot in common, and she's gonna be living next door to me, so that's why they became best friends.
Exactly.
But I kind of
Ronnie and Sid,
yeah.
they generally hang out together like every day, but we don't see it in like how Sid does. Like Sid doesn't appear in every episode of the show.
Yeah,
we know that, but she hangs out with Ronnie Ann every day.
Yeah, it's like with Lincoln and Clyde, where Clyde's not in every episode, but we know Lincoln and Clyde spend time with each other almost every day as well. So it's like
exactly.
I just
that's kind of what it feels like.
Yeah, but I kind of wish we could have gotten an episode where Sid got to meet Ronnie Ann's other friends instead of just being like, oh well, Sid already knows them. It's like, well, how? Because like I
hope Sid and Clyde meet. I hope Sid and Clyde.
Oh my god, if they meet, that will be so wonderful. Like that's what I want. I want Sid and Clyde to meet, because not just because I ship them, because I like Sid and Clyde as a pairing, but just because I just want to see the best friends of the best friends.
I just want to see them interact. That's
what
I want to see.
Yeah, like I want that so bad. Like if we get that Sidati Kid episode, then it's just like we gotta have Sid meet Clyde. That's what you gotta do. Like I really want that so badly. But it's like I kind of wish like Ronnie did introduce Nikki, Casey, Samir to Sid instead of like in the Halloween episode where it's like, oh, I wonder what Casey's up to, and it's like, how does Sid know Casey?
Nikki and Casey are up to, but in New Hunt we only see Samir, their friend Samir.
Oh, Samir, not Casey. I'm sorry, Samir. I apologize. Yeah, Samir.
It's all good.
But it's like, how does Sid know Samir? Like, did she introduce him? Like it's like with Horoscope, Ronnie Ann introduces Lincoln to Sid, even though Sid already knows who Lincoln is, because obviously Ronnie Ann has talked to her about him.
I think Ronnie Ann told her about Lincoln.
Yeah, Ronnie, because Sid said, oh, I know, I've heard a lot about you, Lincoln. So clearly, Ronnie has told Lincoln about Sid probably a lot, because like she met him first before Sid. But with the other friends, we didn't know if Ronnie had told Sid about her city friends. It was just like, oh, she knows them. How? I don't know. She just knows them. I wish it was more.
Yeah, it's like one of those things that can't be explained.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, she knows them. How? I don't know. She just knows them. All right, that makes sense. Because like, if they would have done that with Lincoln, where it's like, oh, Sid already knows Lincoln and like already's been talking to him and stuff, that would have been like very disappointing. So like, I mean, I'm happy that she, like, Ronnie had talked to Sid about Lincoln, but obviously they actually got to officially meet, where it's like, oh, she knows her city friends. Why? I don't know. It just, she knows. It's fine. Everything's fine. I mean, but I do like that they're all a gang now, and Sid, like, even in Try game, like, Sid felt so, like, included in the gang, like, she felt so natural coming in. So, like, the same thing here with, like,
Yeah,
Laird. No, go ahead.
Laird only had like a few key appearances. Like he was doing the snake worm challenge or whatever that was.
Yeah. So it's like, even though Laird is kind of like the punchy bag of the show, like, I'm glad that, like, Roddy
He
and the.
reminds me of Irving from Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah. Or even, like, some people have said, like, always kind of like the Rusty of the gang with Lincoln's group. Not just because they're redheads, but it's just because, like, they're kind of like the punchy bags. But it's like, it's nice that he's being
But yeah,
included.
but until you learn he's more capable than just being clumsy because he can actually skate.
Yeah, that's true. Like, I'm glad he's included versus, like, like, kind of like Becky, where she's, like, not part of the gang, but Ronnie and kind of knows her. So, like, Laird is more
I
included.
think I think this is the amount of people we need in in their friend group.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
we don't need more. I don't think we really need more. I think six is enough.
Yeah, yeah.
Or seven, I don't know.
So, any other final thoughts on team effort?
Well, once again, it's just I really like the outfits they're wearing. It's really I like they're all wearing purple, and we finally got to see Nikki's hair.
Yes, yeah, her hair is short, which a lot of people have predicted, which I'm really glad that's actually
I saw
canon.
this drawing of someone who drew what Nikki's hair would look like if she didn't wear a hoodie. Um, that person almost got it right.
Yeah.
Except Nikki has like a little ponytail at the back.
Yeah, that was really interesting because, like, some people had predicted that she would have longer hair, but then someone actually drew a drawing where it was, like, shorter, but it's just in the ponytail. So they got it pretty much correct, just like not the ponytail.
Yeah, I was like, the I thought Sid. I just hope we get more episodes where the guys are like trying to do skateboarding tricks. Try like especially Sid trying to learn skate like trying to learn like I wonder if she's gonna actually be really good at skateboarding compared to Ronnie Ann.
Ooh, that'd be interesting because, like, I was hoping for an actual skate competition in this episode, but of course that didn't happen. I'd love to see they actually do an episode where the gang actually does have to do a competition against another team. Like, maybe they find out there's another skateboard team and another place they have to go there. And I had an idea like this, but it was in Royal Woods, and Rania was going up against Lynn and her team. I thought that would be fun if they did that.
They're probably gonna do something big
Yeah, I really would.
for
Mhm.
season two. This is only season one.
Yeah, because, like, in season two, we're getting a lot more things. We're getting more, like, higher stakes. Like, in season two, there's going to be, like, them searching for Pachavia's lost gold, which I'm really excited for because they actually referenced that in senior class when Hector talks about his family tree, where he says, "Oh, one of my relatives knew Pachavia," so they already like building up to that in season two. But then, like, there's gonna be more stuff. Like, I can't remember what else there's gonna be, but, like, hopefully, they'll probably continue that with the skateboard team, and maybe they'll get to go into an actual competition.
Yeah, well, I actually want to see the episode. I want to see more episodes where Ronnie and Sid and their friends are actually going to do something else. I mean, yeah, I know skateboarding is now their main thing, but I would like to see them do something else.
Yeah, that's true. Cause, like, in Trend Game, they were just kind of like hanging out and, like, seeing Ronnie and was trying to let them do fun stuff. But, like, skateboarding is Ronnie Ann's main thing. That's one of her passions. So to know that she has, like,
Yeah,
friends who are doing that and also making a club about it, and Sid is included too. That means they can do it all together at once. So she doesn't have to be lonely about it anymore.
yeah, like trend game, like Ronnie Ann, if Ronnie Ann thinks that if she's not up to date on all the trends, she'll probably lose her friends, especially Sid, because that's kind of what she thinks. But in the end, they're cool. They're cool with her being. She's like you're still cool.
Yeah, and it's like I liked Trend Game, but that was my one complaint about the episode was that it was basically a rehash of City Slickers because like you've already learned the same
Or
lesson, you know.
wait,
So
really? To me, I thought it was a rehash of predictability.
oh, that too, absolutely. Because like I've had headcanons about Lincoln being scared about losing his friends, and obviously that's going to continue in Friends in Dry Places. But Ronnie Ann's the main reason that I had that headcanon because of her family history. You know, I feel like her reason of losing all her friends, like in Horoscope, she's afraid of ruining her friendship with Lincoln for like romantic feelings, and then like just generally losing her friends because her father left like what 2 years ago. So that's why it's connected to her like feeling scared to lose her friends. Lincoln's another story, but
Yeah.
it's like they both have those same fears just in different ways. But like
I noticed that thread you did of Ronniekin, and I actually agree with you.
yeah, I put a lot of time and effort into that. Like they have a lot of
Like,
connections.
yeah,
But like yeah, like I really did like that episode with this one with all of them back together again as a gang, just skateboarding together, and hopefully we'll continue to show that in the show was really well done, except for the coach. Like
mm.
that's my one complaint about the episode. But other than that, I really loved it.
Yeah. The show is gonna bring back. Yeah, the series is probably gonna bring back old characters and bring them back, and like because once again this episode only had one setting. Well, like the main setting was the school, but now we got to see other locations in running against the school, like the cafeteria.
Yes, that was pretty cool. We actually got to see that. And we did get to see some of the other classroom settings as well. Like they brought back that one classroom from two clubs and another one from senior class. So we're actually getting to see more of the
Yeah, I
school.
think that was the gym, wasn't it? Or
Yes, the gym. Yeah, that was one of the main settings. So like we're actually getting to see more of what the school was like. And seeing Roddy in the school, because like back in Royal Woods, we didn't see her much in school. So now we get to see her and Sid and the gang in school, which I think is pretty interesting.
yeah, exactly. It's really I really the school looks really the school for me looks. I think the school looks a little better than the Royal Wood than the one in Royal Woods.
I kind of disagree because like in two of clubs, you've seen the
Okay,
background,
that's okay.
like you see in the
That's
background,
okay.
all the lockers and all the floors are really dirty, and it's like I think it's a little cleaner, but it's also a little dirty because it's a city school, and you know how cities can be.
That I understand. I would understand why he would say that. That's fine.
But it is pretty much cooler than where it was elementary because it's like a bigger school and it's like an academy, so I think it would be a
That's
lot
kind
more.
of the reason why I said. That's kind of the reason why I said that. But
Yeah, yeah. So I think it's really neat that we've been seeing the school setting, and I'd like to see more of it going forward, obviously. But we have, so it's like I can't wait to see more of what they do with like the school and the show and stuff.
yeah.
All right, so those were all the new episodes of The Loud House and the Casagrandes. So I want to thank you so much for coming out to my show. Like having you on as a guest was awesome. Like we got into a lot of great conversations. Like I love having other.
It was all text messages, but I get to talk to you in voice chat, which was really great.
Yeah, like talking to someone in person, well, not in person, well, talking to someone in voice chat is more fun. Just because, like, even though text is like, it's nice to do a text, but when you actually get to talk to somebody in voice, you actually can hear how passionate someone is about something, and hearing you talk about all this stuff really just made me smile because of how passionate you are about like Ronnie and Sid and the Casagrandes and and these shows overall.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I respect your opinion too of liking Ronikin. I like. I don't. To be honest, to be honest with you. Uh, I'm not gonna say this is a problem, but I think to me as I like Ronikin, but I think it's a bit overrated for me.
I mean, I can see that
You can
because
disagree. It's okay. If you disagree, that's fine.
no, I'm not. I'm gonna put bias down for a second. That was in my show as bias, but no, I can agree because obviously, all of us, we're a big majority of the fandom who does ship them. They've been a pre-established thing for a while, so it's understandable. I mean, I
I believe
can't.
Sidoni's underrated. Is that right? Or
I mean, you could say that. I think Sidani can. That's okay. Sidani is like sort of underrated because it's not as popular, but it's like they have more establishment in the show because of being best friends and having more like screen time and stuff. But they're kind of the same level with Clinkin, like they're both like people don't really like ship them as hardcore. I ship Clinkin a lot, they're
I ship
underrated.
I ship Sidoni real. I ship Sidoni so much. Like, but yeah.
I mean, it's like I would be happy for a Sidani endgame. I think all of us mostly could say that Roddy Kid will be the main endgame. But if Sidani ends up being endgame, I wouldn't be upset. I'd be happy because that's Ronnie Ann's choice. Whoever she ends up with.
I'd
But
be very happy. I'd be so happy.
yeah, I mean, I'd be happy for everybody
I won't
else.
rub it in. I won't rub it in.
No, you can rub it in, man.
I will never rub it. I will rub anything in. I'm not that guy.
I mean, if Sidani happens, my friend Zay would rub it in my face. You probably know who Zay is.
How would you take it?
I would be happy. I'd be very, very happy because, like, you got your ship cannon. That's all that matters. I'll be fine. I'll be happy. But it's like, I already know who the end game will be. But it's not like I don't want to be biased, because biased opinion is bad. But it's also because my show, I'm biased. But, if Tsunami were to happen in this show, I'd be very happy for everybody who ships them because you deserve it. And I will agree because it's like.
Seriously, that scene, yeah, especially that scene from Never Friending Story. That after watching that scene, I walked out of my room and I said, Ronnie and Sid, or was that even real?
Yeah.
Like I thought I was seeing things, but that was real.
I mean, clearly there's some evidence to Sid having a huge crush on Ronnie Ann. Like, there's some clear evidence to her being I guess like identified as lesbian. Like, there's no canon evidence yet. Like, probably they haven't, like, the crew haven't said that she's lesbian, but
There's some hints.
There's hints of it for sure. Like, there's no way you cannot read that scene to be like, oh, Sid doesn't have a crush on Ronnie, and clearly she does.
Yeah, we're all gonna keep thinking that.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep thinking that until it's actually confirmed in the future. Once season 2 begins, or because I don't want it to be. I want to see. I don't. If it happened in season 1, the relationship would be going a little too fast.
Yeah.
So I think it's best to wait until season 2.
Yeah, because, like, I've said the same thing about Roddykin, where, like, as much as I want them to become endgame, I don't want them to become endgame right away because I want to see their development blossom more, because obviously we don't see a lot of their friendship and relationship on screen as much, and with season 5 and season 2 of Casagrandes, we could see more of that, so that then, of course, it'll be more satisfying when they do end up together. So the same thing with Sidani, if that were to happen, where we want to see more of them together and develop their friendship or relationship, and if it were to happen, the end game will be more satisfying.
Yeah, the end game would be literally one of the best things that ever happened to me.
Yeah, or we could also have a Sidani-kin end game.
Oh, sure.
I'm cheering for that.
That'd be really.
Radiant has 2 hands. She doesn't have just one. She has 2.
Yeah, she can pull them in for a hug or something. I don't know.
Like with some of the hugs lately with the Loud House characters, they always put the little hearts on top of them. I really hope that if we get a Sidani-kin episode, that they hug at the end, that there's the little hearts at the top. That's like, yes.
Yeah, I want there to be with Sidani too.
Yes, absolutely. Like, yeah. Man, shipping is fun. I love shipping.
Shipping is very fun. I will never stop shipping.
Me neither, man. I've been shipping for 4 years in this fandom. I will never stop.
The weird thing is that I shipped Sidani not too long ago. I think I shipped them since February. So that's kind of weird because I should have been shipping them ever since Friended came out, but no, I shipped them since February.
Oh, well, ships take time, like, you could probably start shipping something the moment you see it, like, most people do that, like, with me, the moment I see a character, like, 2 characters on screen, they do something cute, I'm like, ship, but then sometimes it takes a while before you can ship something, like, I know some people who ship Stellakin, I kind of ship it, but it's more low-key, because I'm more the fact of, in canon, Stella said she doesn't want a boyfriend, but, you can do whatever you want in fandom, so I'm still, like, slowly.
I'm kind of worried about. As much as I love Sidani, I'm kind of worried about how it's gonna turn out. Is it gonna be official? Is it gonna be not? I don't know.
I mean, it would be official if it becomes Endgame. They can't just be
Possibly.
because they can't just be like, oh well, Sid and Ronnie and like after the show's over, they're like, oh, Sid and Ronnie and end up together. That would be unsatisfying. Like to not like see them actually get together on
Like just
screen.
let them have them get together and then just make and then like yeah they would still treat each other like they did as best friends. So if they if they do become, I guess you could say, girlfriends like Luna and Sam, and I'm only saying if because we don't really have a confirmation for that.
Yeah. And I do the same thing with Ronikin, where it's like I don't want the show to end, and they're like, oh yeah, they're together. I want to see some clear evidence to where I mostly predicted we'll see like either in the movie or the series finale where they're like holding hands in the background. It's like, yep, confirmed, So, but it's like some evidence to whatever ship becomes canon. You can't just be like, show's over, oh they're canon. Well, but you didn't give it to us. You just kind of did at the
Yeah, you
end.
can't do that in the ending. Then that would because we need if they're official, then you're probably gonna have to make episodes about them. You're probably gonna have to make more episodes about them.
Yeah, you kind of have to do that. Like with Luna and Sam, Luna and Sam, and Win and Benny, we've seen
Like Luna
episode.
and Sam are girlfriends, but they still make an episode about like Racing Heart, like Alice for Love, Racing Hearts, and Perfect Gig. Those are the episodes that Sam appeared in, and all of them she's been spending her time with Luna.
Or even the podcast where she's not even with Luna. Sam becomes her
Exactly.
own character now, outside of
Yeah, she has a
Luna.
focused it's a Sam centered episode, and I'm like, wow.
It's like they actually were like, hey, we could actually make Sam a character and not just Luna's girlfriend. I think that's pretty interesting. Like having her interact with another Loud sibling, which is the one thing I always complain about with Ronnie Yen. I want Ronnie Yen to interact with the Loud sisters, please. That's the one thing I want for season 5. It's just her to talk to the Loud sisters or do something or interact with them.
Season 5 will be very exciting.
Man, I
And
just can't
season
wait.
5 and season 5 of the Lados and season 2 of the Casagrandes, it will be very I have a feeling they will be very exciting.
Yeah, because like after they promised with season 5 that they're like, oh, we always love bringing back the Casagrandes for a visit. It's like you can't just give it to us on a silver plate and not like give it to us in such a satisfying way. It's gonna be really exciting just to see what they do with the Casagrandes moving forward. Because like it don't you forget about me. Ronnie Ann appears with Carl. I mean, Carlos is the only Casagrande appears, and Sergio. But it's like Ronnie Ann comes back,
Yeah.
hangs out with Lincoln. It's wonderful. And it's like I want to
What
see.
they're doing is pretty much the setting, so
Yeah,
what
it's
Ronnie and Lincoln are doing is the setting, and
it's like I want to see more of that moving forward with their relationship. It's just like them in the background, hanging out, being best friends, doing stuff together. I want a focus episode on it, but also just you could just have them hanging out in the background, and it's like there's all the shit fuel I need. That's all I need, man. That's
yeah.
all I need to just like cry and make head cannons and be like, I want more. It's like hopefully we get that, but like with season 2 of Casa Grandes, we don't know much about it, and like I really want to see what else they do with season 2 because like we don't know what
Other than the fact that it's coming out this fall, so
yeah, and like because they have to like age up the characters, I hope they like premiere season 5 right along the season 2 Casagrandes. Because if we get season 2 Casagrandes and the Casagrandes aren't aged up, it's like, well, wait, so are they not gonna follow Loud House season 5? And then like in season 5, like in season 2 Casagrandes, Radian is like in
I
her
mean, yeah, the Casagrandes is a spin-off. It's not a spin back onto the Loud House.
but it's also connected to the Loud House though.
That is true.
Because we
Yeah,
have
that's true.
characters like Lincoln and Lori appearing, and I think we know for sure. I mean, it's not confirmed, but I think we know that Lori's going to become a reoccurring character in season 2 of Casa Grandes because of her going to
Yeah,
college.
because she'll probably go to college and get together with Bobby.
Yeah, so like if they do change up the characters for season 5, then Lori has to change as well for season 2 of Casa Grande, so they have to do it as well. Because like you can't just have Roddy Ann be 11 in the spin-off, then when she goes to the Loud House, she's 12 years old and like wearing a different outfit.
Yeah, the characters are gonna be 12. Yeah, yeah. All the 11-year-old characters will be they're gonna be like 12 years old.
Yeah, so it's like gonna be it's gonna be weird if like they're like season 2 Casagrandes, Radian is 11, but then she goes to the Loud House and she's 12 years old and like looks different. It's like, what is happening? What's going on? You know, it's but we don't know anything yet, so it's like we probably won't know what the characters are changing outfits or looking different until like later on. You know.
Are you looking forward to the Christmas special?
What, the one in the Casagrandes?
I think so. Was it Casagrandes or the Loud House?
There's um I know there's a Casa Grande one that's coming out, but I know in season 5 there's supposed to be a bunch of other holiday episodes. Are you talking about the comic? Because there's supposed to be like a holiday comic with the House of the Casa Grandes.
That one.
That one I'm looking forward to, man.
I feel very sheepish. I feel very sheepish thinking it was gonna be an episode.
Oh man, if only, you know. But no,
if only.
No, I am so looking forward to that because, of course, you know, I love when the Last House of the Casagrandes crossover and live like CasaLoud.
In her winter outfit.
Oh my god,
she looks so cool.
That I love that they gave her a new outfit because we only had that official fan art with her in Lincoln a while back when they gave her kind of a cute little winter outfit, but this fits more of her character, and I loved Living La Casa Loud. It's my favorite comic of all time. Again, bias because Casagrandes and Roddykin.
All good,
yeah. But this is like they're gonna cross over with the Loud House in, like, I guess maybe they're spending Christmas together or winter or something, and we're gonna get all that shipping fuel. I'm so excited. Like I can't wait for that, man. That's my most anticipated comic for this year. Like I don't care about all the others. That one I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah. The funny thing, one thing, you know, with one thing I want to see is like characters like Sid, because she didn't have any eyelashes in the Loud House, but in the Casagrandes she did.
Yeah.
So I wonder if she appears in the Loud House, her eyelashes are gonna be gone.
Huh. That'd be weird. If they did that again.
I'm not saying I want that to happen. You know.
Yeah, because, like, sometimes, like, Don't You Forget About Me with Roddy and don't forget her stress marks. But that's a common thing that happens with the animation, so it's not like it's a bad thing. But I don't think they'll forget. They'll be like, oh yeah, you know, Sid has eyelashes now. Don't forget that. Because, like,
Sid and Adelaide were like one of the few characters from the Casagrandes who changed from having no eyelashes to having eyelashes.
Yeah, because, like, in the Sidani King comic, she doesn't have eyelashes, so maybe that comic was made when they were making the arc, and they were like, okay, well, Sid doesn't have eyelashes, but now she does.
She was probably doing it for the Loud. I think this was before Horoscope.
Really? You think that?
I think because you know how you were like pointed out that how Sid knows Lincoln with no explanation. I think she knew him back in that comic.
No, because
I'm not right, but this is my headcanon.
I'm gonna have to correct you there, because when in Horoscope, Rania says, "I'm so glad my two best friends have finally met." She said that, so they clearly have not met before.
No, he said they are finally meet. Oh.
Yes.
I feel. Wow. Never mind. I should have.
No, it's okay, but I had to correct you there because she clearly said that. Said that.
I guess the Sidani comment came after Horoscope.
Yeah, that's my headcanon. It came after Horoscope because she was like.
But I think it was part of the Loud House instead of the Casagrandes.
But it took place in the city.
Oh yeah, but some Loud House episodes take place in the Great Lake City where Lincoln and Lori are meeting Ronnie and Bobby.
That's true, but like, you know, it is hard to say because like it was in the city, but it was also in the Loud House, so that could have been the case. But I assume because the Casagrandes are now a thing, you know, within the spinoff. But
it's not really. And here's the thing: it's not really a crossover if Ronnie Ann is appearing in the Loud House, because back then she was a recurring character, since the first season of the Loud House.
Yeah, but like even though she wasn't like a quote-unquote reoccurring character, it's more like she wasn't as important as she is now. Now that she is what was that?
she was kind of the one of the supporting characters.
Yeah, but like clearly she wasn't as important as Bobby, which I always complained about. Was like Bobby appeared so much, and Ronnie Ann got like
Give some
nothing.
love for Ronnie Ann.
Yeah, exactly. But now that she's a main character, her coming into the Loud House is much more important to that because again, like her relationship with Lincoln is more explored now because she's a main character and they actually care about her than like the earlier seasons, you know. So even though yeah, it's like yeah, it's not really a crossover because she's in the Loud House. It makes it more
Yeah.
important because she's more important, she's the main character, and they're actually caring about her and Lincoln's relationship more than they did before, you know. So it makes it more important to that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Because these guys obviously want Ronnie Ann to get, Ronnie Ann and the others, like Ronnie Ann and everybody else to get their own show, because and then the Casagrandes, which came out on October, it made a lot of sense because Ronnie Ann became more popular that they've gave her her own show.
It just shows how far she's come as a character. If that she
I think they gave her her own show, uh, based on mostly based on her popularity, or I don't know, probably because of the people wanted her to do it.
I they well, you know, Miguel pitched the show
Miguel
and
Puga.
yeah, and he really wanted to have it mainly because he wanted more representation for Hispanics in in cartoons. And it's like, well, yeah, well, Ronnie Ann seems to be a very popular character, and we understand that. It's like now we're gonna make her own family. It's like we love these guys. We want an actual show based on them because like we're setting up relative chaos. Everybody was like, yeah, this is definitely set up for a spinoff, and that happened, of course.
Yeah,
So
I was actually thinking this. Yeah, I actually wanted this show to be a spin-off a long time ago, ever since like Relative Chaos came out in like I think like summer of 2017, and I wanted that, and I wanted it to be a spin-off, and then I wanted to see the show as a spin. These characters get their own show. And then 2 years later, they did.
yeah, so I've been really happy that the show exists because one of my favorite characters in the whole wide world gets so much attention now, and she has a great family and an awesome best friend, and everything about this show I absolutely love. Again, why I made this whole show in the first place that came to the
Yeah, you
Casagrandes and the
love.
Loud
It was
House.
based on your love for the Laudos and Casagrandes. Actually, the reason why I've been shipping Donnie is because it was based on my love for cartoons with female main characters.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I think that's awesome.
thanks.
Yeah, but we've clearly gotten off the rails with this, you know. But it's really great having this great discussion with you. Like, it's awesome to talk to somebody who's a big
I had a
fan.
lot to talk about. I wanted to talk with you because I really wanted to talk about you know, and not just the episodes, but just stuff in general about the show, like like ship Sidani, Sidani Kin, like any other ship we want to talk about.
Oh man, I could talk about those all day, but clearly we need to end the show soon because it's going on for
Yeah.
a while. So is there any social media you want to plug on my show for anybody to follow you on any social media?
Like I said in the beginning, I'm on. All right, everybody, I'm on Twitter and Instagram. So I'm on Twitter and Instagram. Twitter at Ronnie and Sid. So go follow my account there if you want. If you don't want to, I'm not gonna judge you.
I will
Not
judge
force you,
you
but no.
because you have to. His their art is just amazing. You need to go and follow their art, please.
Yeah, my art's good, but it's not something. It's not the best, but
Oh come on, you're selling yourself short. Your art is amazing.
please. And I think I appreciate it. Thank you. I like your art too. It's really great.
Oh, thank you. But I can say for a fact, please go follow and get their art. And as for me, if you have any questions about the podcast or want to discuss the podcast with me, you can contact me over at XSunnyClips on Twitter or at the podcast's Twitter, CasaLoud Chats. And again, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really loved having these discussions with you.
Yeah. If there's a Sidani, if there's a Sidani episode that's coming out soon, then maybe I'll return, assuming if nobody else wants to come on.
Yeah, well, I actually have a whole lineup of guests after you, actually. I had a
Yeah.
lot of response, but yeah, definitely, like I said on my Twitter, I am looking for lots of guests to come on my show because I've been wanting to have more people in the fandom on the
And that's
show.
fine.
But again, if anyone's interested in coming on, please do. But I also love having recurring guests, so if there is another Sidani episode, I will invite you back on.
Thank you. Because I love talking about this ship and an episode in general.
Yeah, so hopefully I can get you back on because I already have like another person who was just on a while back asked me to come back on again. And I'm like, I just had you on.
It was. I think it was Ryan who I saw you guys talk about the episodes Fast Feud and Never Ending Story.
Yes. No, not him. It was someone else who asked before. But yeah, I brought back Ryan because I had him on my one of my first episodes talking about the full show of the Casagrandes, but I wanted him back on because I haven't had him for a while. But no, I had a recent guest, Caloric. He does Loud House reviews on YouTube. He asked to come back on again. And I'm like, I just had you on. I need more new people to come on. So having you on as one of my very first guests again, it was really exciting.
It was really. I actually like talking with you because because once again I wanted to talk to you about this show for a very long time. These shows like not the Casagrandes, but also, and I really like talking to you about it. And it was an honor to be here, and you know I hope you continue to make more in the future.
Oh, well, I will be here for a while, That was season 2 Casagrandes. I ain't stopping, Once the shows are over, that's when I probably stop. But no, I will continue to have the show. And again, thank you so much for coming on. It was such an honor for me.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me on.
So yeah, like I said, make sure you contact me if you have any questions about the podcast. And we'll see you all next time on CasaLoud Chats.